Well, Coach, you've been in town a little over 3 years. Let me ask you this. What did you really know about the University of South Alabama at that point?
Well, I met Kane down here in Mobile, where a lot of people meet each other is at Veets. And we were down here for the Senior Bowl. And we started talking about the season they had at Indiana, the season we had at Alabama, the Senior Bowl, kind of talking a little more philosophically, offensively, defensively, and then kind of got into talking about just kids in general and just players and their aspirations, their goals, and kind of saw eye to eye on just the way we would want to run a program and treat our players and families and how we'd want to cultivate our culture, and saw eye to eye on that. And then a year later, opportunity comes up for Kane to be the head coach here. Called me, and it was a no-brainer, because that's, plays change, offenses change, they evolve, the game changes, they narrow the goalposts, but kids don't normally change. They stay the same. And so when you want to get into a program as a coordinator, you want to be someone that you're tethered with philosophically in terms of how you're going to run the program and the culture. So that's how I got here to South Alabama. The first time I'd heard about South Alabama as a football team was we were getting ready to play San Diego State in the Las Vegas Bowl. And we're looking through their schedule, and we see a couple of losses. And naturally, as you're breaking down an opponent, San Diego State, you say, I want to see what this team did. And you get over and you watch South. I'm like, South Alabama? Okay, well, I know they got some good ball players down there. I'm from that part of the country, and I'm over in Houston, and turn on the tape, and it was a beating. It was a beating, and I was like, well, I know they've got good players down there, and I imagine they just started that program, and they're starting to scoop up some of that Gulf Coast talent. And so then whenever I came over to Alabama as an analyst and met Kane, I got to see how he wanted to do things, and I'd spent some time in Mobile. Being from Baton Rouge, I've been through the city several times, so you just knew the potential of it. You knew your own experiences of being in Mobile, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me when that opportunity presented itself.
You obviously knew about Mobile then, but what about the university and the facilities here? I suppose that really sold you too. You saw that we had the stadium here on campus, the practice facilities. Those are all things that are necessary to really have a top-notch program. I would imagine you were impressed once you saw them.
I was, and I remember Mobile more as a child, traveling through there with my parents. We actually came to a Senior Bowl at Ladd, and I remember it more as a child, but then coming through here as an adult, taking your family to go vacation, I was like, okay, I like this city more than what I remembered it as a child. And then once I got onto campus, it kind of blew me away a little bit. I was like, wow, I like this campus. It reminds me of, kind of the Gulf Coast feel, like growing up in Baton Rouge. I was like, there's a lot of similarities in just the beauty of the campus, and really felt at home. When I hit the Circle Drive and kind of drove around, I was like, I like this place. And then I got up the hill and got over to the athletic complex, and I saw, okay, this is a brand new stadium. This is a nice indoor facility. They got elevated fields up top. We've got plenty of space. We've got meeting rooms. This is a great setup. This is a great setup. Now we're going to take it different places. We're going to take it up, but this is a great setup to be able to recruit young men, within a gas tank's distance to come to school. And then you see the campus life, and you see the number of students. It's not a small campus. It's not a small population. It's not a large campus with a huge population. And it's just right. It's just right.
You personally, when did you want to first be a coach? When did that strike you?
I've always been a competitor, and I've always loved athletics, always. So I've always wanted to be involved with it somehow, some way. As I started to get older, probably 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you're starting to have a feel for who your coaches are and how they impact you. And I was blessed. I was very blessed. I think if you talk to most coaches, there's going to be a coach in his life. I had an outstanding freshman coach in Sid Edwards. I had an outstanding high school coach in Dale Weiner. Matt Brown's a Hall of Famer. Greg Davis, who was my quarterback coach at Texas, was a Broyles Award winner. So I was very blessed, very fortunate to have 4 great coaches and great men. So I wanted to be that. It wasn't anything more complicated than that. I saw the impact they had on me and others around me, how they could change the atmosphere of a school, the environment, the spirit of the school, and I wanted to do that. You
were a great high school player, great college player, even signed with the Patriots, but then decided to go in the coaching route right away. You even forewent the possibility of going to the NFL. Tell us about that decision at that time.
Well, it's understanding where your strengths are and what you want to do long term. And it was very similar to the decision not to play basketball as a junior in high school. I wanted to put my eggs in the football basket. I figured there wasn't a whole lot of space for a guy who's 6 foot and doesn't jump very well in college basketball. So I made my decision, I'm gonna go this direction. And when I got into the sport and got all the way to where I was a free agent at New England. I saw Drew Bledsoe walk out of the building the first day I got there with a box. He was cut because Tom Brady had just won the Super Bowl, and there was Damon Heward there. It was 4-1 as a starter. They're not going to put a rookie in there as a backup, and they had just signed a guy from LSU for $400,000 in the 3rd round. So you do the math on who the 3 or 4 that are going to be there. And so I said, well, I want to get into coaching long term anyway, so I don't want to be in a position where I can't go be a graduate assistant, latch on with the program, and get started. So it was a hard one for me. It was a hard time in my life. When you take football away, there's just a huge void. There's a struggle there. But ultimately, I got back with the University of Texas, some coaches that I'd played under, moved with the offensive line, worked with Mac McWhirter, who I did not play under, and got to learn the offensive line play, and then quickly my mind switched and went on that track quickly.
You know, the old saying is that teams kind of take on the personality of their head coach. So what will a major Applewhite-led Jaguar team look like?
They're going to be competitive. They're going to be competitive in everything they do, or they're not going to see the field. We're going to be competitive in the classroom. We're going to be competitive on the field. We're going to be tough. Offensively, we're trying to score every time we touch the ball. And I'm not talking about every series. I'm talking about every play. We're going to try to score every time we touch the ball. Defensively, we're going to attack. But I want our guys not only just to be competitive, I want us to win the right way. I'm a little bit old school. I grew up with the coaches that you win with class, you win with humility, a good sportsmanship. You knock the guy down, you get him back up, you say, hey, I'll see you in about 5 or 6 seconds. I mean, I grew up in that frame of mind. So a little bit of the things that you see now are just added distractions. I want guys to stay focused on the task at hand, focused on our competitor. But when someone turns on the TV, there's no volume. I want them to see a team that's flying around, that's physical, competitive, that they can talk to you through the screen. You don't need volume.
You know, you really have worked with some great coaches, Nick Saban, Mac Brown, to name 2. What is the characteristic that the great ones have? Is it communication with their players? Is it preparation? What are some of the traits that the greatest coaches really possess?
I think clearly painting a picture for your staff as to what you want to be, and then putting forth a plan to give them the time to do that as a staff, but clearly painting out a picture. This is what I see our offense as, this is what I see our defense as, this is what I see us as in recruiting, this is what I see us in terms of academics, this is what I see us in the weight room, in our training, in our off season, and just painting a very clear vision and then a plan to go do it. Not just this is a vision, y'all figure it out. This is the vision, this is the plan, and then this is the quality control to go back and see, are we reaching our goals in our plan. I think you also have to have some patience. We're all competitive. We want it, right now instead of right. So you have to have some patience, slow things down, understand there's a human element in it. There's kids, they're 18 to 22. We want them to be, drones or little robots, but they're going to make mistakes, and we've got to be there to develop them and help them reach their potential.
What's life been like since you were named head coach at the University of South Alabama? Busy, I would imagine.
It's busy. I joked with my wife. I said, I kind of feel like a mom now, in terms of the work never stops. But it's just, there's so, just as soon as you take care of son, there's something to do with the daughter. Just as soon as you handle the offense, there's something to do with defense. And now offense and defense is fine, and now it's special teams. And now everybody's doing well, and now it's academics. There's always something to do, which is good. I'm built like my mom. I'm a doer. I don't sit around and just kind of naturally just be able to relax. There's things that I like to put my hands on and get things done. So it's exciting though. It's exciting because you get a lot of opportunities to shape your program, shape your culture. You can't do it overnight. You got to have patience, kind of what we were talking about earlier in terms of the attributes of the great coaches. You just got to have patience with that and make sure it's moving in the right direction.
A lot of coaches complain, and probably rightfully so, about the transfer portal and having to recruit your team over and over to keep people from going elsewhere. But isn't there also the other side of the coin of the transfer portal? If you recruited well, you can get pretty good pretty quick. Is that true?
Absolutely. It's tough. I mean, from the standpoint of the pieces are constantly moving, but it is what it is. Those are the rules. We all know it beforehand. There's a little part of me that's just tired of the whining. It's what it is. It's what the rules are. We all agree on them, right? All right, well, let's go play. But at the same time, it's just, again, it's however you want to use those rules. It's however you want to go about it, however you want to set your plan, and how you want to make those rules work for yourself. And we've done a good job lately of bringing guys in from the portal that can help our football team.
How does that work? Do you have a coach that specifically is monitoring that portal each day, and then you go look up tape? How does that work when maybe you're looking for somebody in the portal?
The number one thing is we have a recruiting department. So we have 3 people that they're constantly looking at all types of players, whether they be high school players, junior college prospects, portal transfers. They're constantly looking at that market, and they're putting them in those 3 little pools of players. We also, there's things in terms of technologies and softwares that alert you when people get into the portal that you have those at your disposal. For us, we have to kind of look at the model that's worked for us. There's certain guys that are getting in the portal to get paid and get paid handsomely, and there's certain guys that are getting in the portal to play. And those people fit more of our model. Not that you can't be paid, but there's certainly a dollar figure there that you are kind of cut off from. For us, it's about identifying those guys and then finding people that you have connections with. For us, it's got to be more geographic. It's got to be more geographical. So we do have people who set their eyes on it. We do have guys that are constantly monitoring it. We're constantly looking at those players throughout the year because there's grad transfers that can go out in the middle of semester. Some universities have already started as a registrar, and academia have started to figure out that, hey, there's these 8-week classes that we need to have set up in case one of these situations happen. You just saw it at Texas State with their quarterback, be able to enter at the end of February. So there's starting to do some things academically. So it's changing a lot of things. It's not just changing your roster, it's changing a lot of things across the campus.
All right, you play on Saturdays. Well, what's a Sunday look like for you? And are you able to squeeze family time in, or when does that happen during the week?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you just got to be honest about it. During the season, you're in there probably 9:30, 9 o'clock Sunday morning, and you're there till probably 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and that's going to be your Sunday. We always find time, family-wise. We'll meet up on Sunday afternoon, have dinner. I'll get up in the morning with them, have breakfast with them, but I'm always going to make sure that my family's a part of my day. Done this long enough, seen the stories, seen them with my own eyes, and that's really important to me. So I'm going to always make time for my family. I live a mile from campus, so it's not hard for me to shoot over at lunchtime and steal 20, 30 minutes.
Let me ask this then about the family. You talked about your feelings towards Mobile and the Gulf Coast. How about the family? What do they like best about living on the Gulf Coast?
Just the people, honestly, as they've gotten here and gotten settled in. I've seen my daughter at her school. It's tough. I mean, she moved in 7th grade, and if you have a daughter in 7th grade, I mean, we all kind of, us parents are all kind of like, oh. And the school is so welcoming to her, and you just see, all right, if she can make it in there at 7th grade as a young lady and acclimate and just take off, then we're going to be just fine. So they love their school. They love their extracurriculars. My daughter's a dancer. Competitive dancer. My son, he's 8 years old. He plays them all. So they're highly, involved in all their activities. My wife, she has her crew. And that's really all you're looking for as a coach is, and I figured this out from my mom a long time ago. She said, as soon as all the little chicks are happy, then the hen's gonna be happy and then you're gonna be happy. And so everywhere we've gone, every move we've had, I've been like, okay, son's good, daughter's good, wife's good, I'm good. And that's just the way it works, and I can be good about anywhere as long as those 3 are good.
Head coach, Major Applewhite. Boy, we sure appreciate your
Thank
time,
you.
and best of luck to you going forward.
Thank you, Lance, I appreciate it.